I'll be talking about how to streamline the data migration that generally any banking client have to go through in the process of maintaining the process of maintaining the data, and the also I'll be talking about the ETL process, which have to be used to transform the data from one source system to another system, and also fine tune the data to provide the readable reports that the business needs. And as I said, as I'll be talking about the data migration, and why do we need data migration, right? So data migration is always needed when we go through from one system to another system. So when I say one system, so we don't in any let's say if we talk about organization won't be staying in one location, or carry the one infrastructure all through its life. It's always like have to improve and also upgrade their systems in order to be competent in the industry, in order to also be compliant with the new rules that the government possess. So for that to maintain, or for that to continue doing it, data migration is part of the any industry or any organization that we that exists here. So as part of the data migration, we will also do the ETL. ETL is nothing but we extract the data, we transform the data, and also we load it into one system. And this is very a critical operation that have to done in any organization that includes banking. And apart from data migration, we do have challenges that when we migrate from one process to another process, there will be some manual processes that we do it currently in one application, right? So when we go through these manual processes, we also have to make sure that the same manual process cannot continue in the new system. So we would like to always change those manual process, automate them, and at the same time we want to be compliant, making sure that there are no risk associated when we are automating these manual processes. So those are the some challenges that we go through when we migrate from one system to another system. And when I say that, we need to automate, definitely there are some automation tools that, we will use it. Okay. That will enable the, efficiency and the accuracy, and also maintaining the compliance. So let's jump into the challenges here. So the challenges in traditional processes are, as I mentioned, there will be some manual process, that we do in the existing, applications, right? And we also have some legacy systems, that we do maintain it, which will contain a lot of a huge amount of data. And when I say, migration, we always might be running through some high maintenance cost, because, we are in a old and backdated system. And, in order to maintain that, when I say maintain, it means, we have to run through all the security patching every now and then, to make sure that, there are no security issues, coming because of, we're maintaining a old system. And also, when it comes to maintaining these legacy systems, there are also some compliance that we need to follow, which means if you're not upgraded to certain compliance procedures, the maintenance of the data in the legacy systems will be more higher. It will be like it incurred like huge cost. Yeah. And when I say, as I talk about the challenges, I do also want to talk about, the data, right? What is the data that, contains that is there in the banking, right? So, how this data will be evolved? What type of data that, we need to really look into it here? So, um, when the organization goes through when the organization do the regular transactions, it do maintain, it do come up with, a lot of, it do generate, huge volumes of data. Okay, and this data have to be secured. Okay, and this data have to be secured based upon the compliance that the government impose. Okay, and there will be some compliances like, the base Basel compliance, and then also GDPR compliances. So these compliance rules has to be followed by the bank. Okay, and the other thing is, how do you represent the information that the bank carry, right? This information has to be accessible to the customer, whenever it is needed, right? And what kind of, information that you store for a customer have to be also be presentable to the customer. And then how do you streamline this process? So you collect the data, you work on, being compliant of this data, and also you have to streamline this whole process so that, the daily operations, will work without any risk in the banking operations. And I was talking about, migration, and also the data which have to be going through the compliance, right? And I would like to understand, I will also like to talk about the automation, right? How do you automate, and what are the automation that, we need to do, to what are the benefits that it will cause, using this to do that automation. So mainly, when we do automation, we make sure that, we are improving the accuracy of the data. So when you say accuracy of the data means whatever the data that, we collect and we run through all the systems, and when we present it back to the customer, it has to be really accurate. So it cannot miss out any information that what has been collected. And then second thing is, how faster, you process the data. So we get, huge volumes of data on a daily basis. We will make sure that, we will process data in a more faster and a scalable way. uh, in the current system, the data that is being generated is very huge. So that the time, when I started in bank versus the time, where we are today, the data has grew a lot. And then we have to be, our systems have to be really scalable enough to, process these huge volumes of data. And then third thing is the efficiency, right? However the data has been generated to run the operations, we also need to have a efficiency plan to maintain the data. So it cannot be like, more burden to the bank to maintain the data. So we need to have some cost efficiency practices to maintain the data. And then the maintenance also should include, we are going through the compliance, right? Without any compliance, without following the compliance rules, we cannot maintain the data. So the regulatory compliance is always a mandatory thing when we are, working with the data. And the last thing is, uh, 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 enhanced decision making, using the BI tools. So whatever the data has been, stored, and then, finally, we will present this data to the business using the BI dashboards. So all the BI dashboards also need to be very, very in a readable format, and also it should contain all the inclusive information that is needed for the decision making. So how much volume of data that, we process, the meaningful information have to be provided back into the BI dashboards, so that, the decision making will take place. And the key tools that, we use it, when we do the automation, or when we migrate the data, or when we load when we process the data on a day-to-day basis. The main ETL tools that we use it are the Informatica, okay, and then Apache and the AWS Glue. And these are the three main tools that we generally used to transform the data. And when as I talked about the BI, the dashboards, the main tools that are being used, which are needed for the business, is the Tableau and Power BI. And also, like sometimes we did use the quick sense, but more it's more on the Tableau and the Power BI. And also the last one is automation of the frameworks, right? So we did use Airflow, which is a current thing that we are working on it. And then we did use RPA a little bit, but mostly we are using the Airflow. And the implementing strategies, right? So how do you implement all the huge data, right? So it's mainly about we will go with assessing the data, currently workflows, the current workflows, and what is a data volume that we do have it. And then we will choose what is the appropriate automation that we need to use, and the BI tools. And finally, we will see what type of data formats that we do have it, and then we use the ETL pipelines to standardize these data formats. And finally, we will feed the data into the dashboards. And when it comes to maintaining the huge data or migrating the huge data, these are the best practices that anyone could follow. Mainly, we will make sure what type of data that we are dealing with. We'll make sure that we have the quality data that gets loaded into the source system, and then we do we do perform some data validations after the sourcing is been completed. And then if if it includes any kind of cleanup is needed, then we do some cleansing of the data. And the second thing is since how do you secure the data? How do you secure the sensitive data mainly? So all the data that is been coming to the organization, and some of the data might include the sensitive information, and this sensitive information have to be handled in a pretty good way. So when I mean pretty good way is like we need to be really cannot be having any loose ends when the data has been when we are dealing with the sensitive data. So there are like a lot of PA implementation process that we did followed. So that PA implementation includes like encryption of the sensitive data of the customer. And then we did also applied some access controls on it. So who can access the data, and what are their authorization to access the data. All these controls are being implemented on the sensitive information. And third thing is uh, to achieve all this, we follow the agile methodology, and also the collaboration between all the teams. So these are the three things which mainly are the best practices that we followed in the banking operations. And finally, I would like to conclude on these three things. Uh, uh, the main thing, which is like we for the banking operations, the automation and also the BI tools revolutionization is a key thing for the banking operations. And second thing is that how do you migrate the data, making sure that we have the efficiency and also following the compliance rules. And the third thing is adaptation of the tools that are available in the current market, and making sure that we are running a successful we are running a successful operation without any data losses or compliance issues for the bank.